But yeah, I mean, we want to start this show up, revive old TMBS segment. Mainstream media is not really covering this that much, but we want to start with a shout out. There's a lot of talk in this country about, the vaccine mandates, etc. It sort of, sucked up all of the oxygen around, the debates around COVID to such an extent that people are forgetting the fundamental issue, which is that there is a global vaccine apartheid going on right now. The United States, if they are serious about ending this pandemic, should one be doing a hell of a lot more domestically, but internationally are completely dropping the ball. And as it's been time and time again, it has fallen on the shoulders of this tiny island nation to stand up for the vast majority of people. Matt, could you take us through this? Because I can't follow the screen.
Yeah, we got Progressive International here highlighting Progressive International delegating is working with Cuban doctors, scientists, and government officials to help vaccinate the world. Cuba announced yesterday that it would share its vaccines and solidarity prices to extend its medical grenades. Here's a short video from Progressive International, who should have more followers. And I might need to refresh.
Oh, Lord.
They're
throttling us.
Yeah, hold on, I'll be right back with that.
No worries. I mean, it's an incredible. It's been an incredible movement from the Cuban government to produce a vaccine that works without the kind of resources that the major pharmaceutical companies were receiving in the first place, but two, to distribute that amongst their own people, and now to distribute that across the globe.
The Progressive International delegation to Cuba landed this week with a simple mission: to help vaccinate the world. 2022 began with a tsunami of COVID-19 cases crashing over the world. According to the World Health Organization, this is the most we have seen of COVID-19 cases since the beginning of the pandemic. The Omicron variant is reported to have more mild implications for vaccinated patients, but the world remains perilously and violently unequally under-vaccinated. We're talking 80% of people in Europe who've received 2 doses of the vaccine at least, and only 9% of people in low-income countries who've received a single dose. This not only presents problems for those under-vaccinated countries for whom Omicron is a death sentence for hundreds of thousands of people, it also presents the very real possibility, if not inevitability, that new variants will emerge that are more deadly than Omicron and spread across the world, even to the global north countries themselves. The global north refuses to plan for global vaccination, or even to meet their own pledges. They've delivered only 14% of the pledges they've made to COVAX, the UN Global Vaccine Sharing Institution. In that vacuum of global solidarity, Cuba has emerged as a powerful vehicle, an engine of international solidarity and vaccine internationalism more broadly. Not only did Cuba, against all odds, against the US embargo, succeed to develop several vaccine candidates, 2 of which have an effectiveness of over 90%, they succeeded through the public health system here to roll out a public vaccination program for over 90% of the residents of this island. Now, Cuba stands ready to help vaccinate the world, to export that Cuban model, sending delegations of doctors, of scientists to help build infrastructure in other parts of the world, to build capacity, and to deliver the kind of vaccination programs that Cuba has seen here on the island. The US blockade stands in its way, not only in terms of importing goods like syringes or basic medical necessities to develop and roll out their own vaccination program, but critically for the exports that would enable Cuba to help deliver on this vaccination program. That's why the Progressive International is here, to meet with Cuba's leading doctors and scientists, to hear from them and to help them communicate to the world about what is the Cuban model of vaccination, what can we learn from it, and how can other countries have the access to the same types of vaccines that Cuba has succeeded to.
Yeah.
It's a humanitarian crisis that we're facing right now. Joe Biden should lift the blockade against Cuba. The continuation of the hoarding of medical equipment and knowledge by the United States and the West in general needs to end. One, because it's immoral in the first place, but 2, if we're ever going to see the end of this thing, we need to have global solidarity and not this kind of forced isolation that is put on through American imperialism.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it's about. This is really about they don't want to share the know-how of how to produce this stuff worldwide, right? Like
Hmm.
you talk about like the patents are one thing, and that's like Bill Gates and those folks stand in the way of that. And then there's the further thing where, like Adler mentions, Cuba's going there to help create some of that infrastructure that's needed too. And we talk about like aliens visiting planet Earth, and like if they are coming now, one of the reasons would be probably the fucking perversity spectacle that they have of our global public health system right now, where we have a country the size of Cuba having to pull above its weight and being fucking like stood in the way of to do so, as the entire globe just allows this thing to just roil through populations of folks. And it sucks because you mentioned the conversation domestically in America. It's like Omicron's nothing because everyone's vaccinated who wants to be or whatever, supposedly. But it's like that's also, I don't know, that's not the case, right? Everywhere else.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
and also the sure, I think compared to Delta, Omicron, good news, relatively speaking. Who knows if that's the last fucking variant we deal with? And we're fucking playing footsie with, I think, a horrible probabilities here. Like, I don't think it's like likely that we have a Station 11 situation, collapse society, but like we are pushing up against like 3,000. What we've decided in this country is, doctor said, like at the peak flu season, we usually get about 3,000 deaths. And so that's basically what we can tolerate here in America with regards to COVID deaths. But that's like not seasonal, right? Just every week we can tolerate that. And, it's led to a situation where we're losing a lot more than that. And surprised, I don't know. It's frustrating.
Well, the point is that the Cuban model shows that another model is not only like feasible hypothetically, but in practice. And the only thing that's stopping us from pursuing that is the religion of profit, and that's something that desperately, for everyone's sake, needs to be dispelled.